Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Cinematic Schematic, the official podcast of the Cinematropolis.com, your home to thoughtful conversations on film. I'm your host, Caleb Masters, and today we are going to be rejoined by the Cinematropolis co-founders and also the founders of Planet Thunder Productions. We're going to be learning about the latest and greatest film being made by our friends at Planet Thunder Productions, Hell Hath No Fury.
Woo, woo.
Exciting times, exciting times. You just heard a couple voices around the table here with us, so let's go ahead and welcome today's very special guest, starting first and foremost with the director of Hell Hath No Fury, Zachary Burns, also Cinematropolis co-founder. Welcome to the Cinematic Schematic.
Hey, thanks for having me back.
You're directing this?
Oh, yeah. Sorry, did I not tell you?
Okay.
Ooh, we're going to have a conversation after this.
Plot twist at the table.
Yikes.
The little kind of listeners don't know there's knives being raised.
The knives are out.
We're also super thrilled to be joined by writer, producer of Hell Hath No Fury. I guess you do a lot. You're going to be doing a lot of other things.
I'll be doing quite a bit, yeah.
Quite a bit?
Yeah, those are the big things I'll do. And also cinematography,
Yeah. Cinematography, the big one. So I'm gonna sum this up. We got the writer, producer, cinematographer, fundraiser, and also co-founder of the Cinematropolis, Jacob Leighton Burns. Welcome back.
Hey, thanks for having me back.
Well, listeners, before we get to today's very special interview, I just wanted to quickly note that if you are listening in today and you enjoy hearing about all the awesome projects that are coming about, especially here in the Oklahoma City area, I hope you'll consider supporting the Cinematic Schematic by subscribing and leaving us a rating and review on your preferred podcast app, especially Apple Podcasts. The more ratings and reviews we get there, it makes it more likely that we're going to be discovered by listeners just like you. Now, with that said, gentlemen, let's get to the topic at hand. Hell Hath No Fury. Hell Hath No Fury is currently in the process of the fundraising. It actually, within 10 days, a week, hit its goal of $5,000 on Indiegogo. And then within 24 hours, passed its stretch goal of $7,000. And currently, as of this recording on Wednesday, November 3rd, is now aiming for a second stretch goal of $10,000. So with that said, of course, if you want to support the film, we're going to plug this again at the end of the show, but you can find a link to the Indiegogo page in the show notes. And with that said, though, gentlemen, let's hear a little bit more about the film Hell Hath No Fury. Zach, I'm going to turn to you here. Give us the elevator pitch. What is this movie about?
Yeah, so Hell Hath No Fury is a dark comedy about a husband and wife who separately and unknowingly plan to murder each other on the same night. So as you can guess, there's a lot of hijinks, and it'll be lots of fun and lots of blood.
So is this a fictional story or something autobiographical?
Oh, yeah, no, this is something that happened to me in my childhood.
Happened to my friend Jeff.
Yeah. No, this is unfortunately all made up.
Oh, okay. Unfortunately. Okay, yes.
Allegedly all made up.
Legally, this is all made up.
Yes.
Well, and actually, I hope I'm not jumping the gun here, but that reminds me of that quote that's at the front of Fargo about, the story not being based on actual names. I'll turn this one to you, Jacob. What exactly inspired this idea?
That's a great question. You'd have to travel back 10 years ago
what
to
did
find
inspire
out.
this idea? I don't even remember fully where it came from.
Yeah. So it came from, the first draft of the script was written probably around 10 years ago, pretty much all of our other movies. So I was fresh out of college, looking for a first feature for me to direct. And so at some point I was just a big fan of crime movies and Coen Brothers movies and dark comedies and stuff like that. And so I wanted to kind of play in that playground. And I don't know where the initial idea came from, but it kind of grew from that love of those type of stories. And so I wrote the first draft, and it was okay.
It was fine.
It was
honestly, it was all right.
It was all right. And then around that time, I was also writing a movie called Electric Nostalgia around the time, and that one kind of came together a lot more quickly, and we kind of
we got really interested in robots there.
Exactly.
For a while.
We were really, it was crime movies, and then robots was our thing for a bit.
Yeah.
And so it just kind of sat around on my computer in my, Dropbox folder of script ideas for a long time. And a few years ago, Zachary brought up the idea of him directing. but he doesn't like to write. Is that true?
I sure don't. I'm happy to let someone else do that hard work.
Yeah.
But Zach, you wrote a really nice text message to me the other day. I mean, are you sure?
And I struggled for days over
I actually
that.
wrote that. I ghostwrite his text messages.
Yeah, it's
for
true.
him.
Snap! I knew it.
I give notes though.
Well, that's true. Very extensive notes.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was kind of. I was like, well, I got this like mediocre script. I guess he could have that. And we could do a rewrite on it and see what happens. And so we really, that was probably about 3 years ago when that first idea came up of you maybe directing it. But then around that time, we were like, oh, we're going to make this time travel horror movie. That'll probably take up some of our time.
Yeah, I guess we should do that, whatever.
Yeah. So we kind of got distracted by that. Shifter, now available on VOD. And so we kind of, with the pandemic and all this, we suddenly had a lot more time, and some other projects were moving a lot slower than we wanted them to. So we're like, well, screw it. Let's do this one. Let's just do it. So
Bust it out.
we reread it. Zachary had extensive notes
As I often do.
on the script, and I had some of my notes as well. It's easy to criticize yourself 10 years later.
Right.
And
Actually, I would say that's brave. I certainly don't want to go back and listen to podcasts from 10 years ago.
yeah, no
Tell you that.
joke. Yeah. I haven't read all of my scripts from around that time. So this one, at least the idea always kind of hung around as being something, the premise just seemed like a really fun playground to play in. So yeah, after we kind of did a rewrite, it took a huge jump in quality.
Yeah.
And we're like, oh wait, this is actually a good movie. What?
Yeah.
When did that happen?
Where did that come from?
And then after a few more rewrites, it's like, dang. And now I'm like, I told him earlier today, I was like, if the script had been this good 3 years ago, I probably wouldn't have said you could do it. I probably would have done it myself. But so it's been 10 years in the making. It's really, everybody that's read it really likes it, really thinks it's really funny. And we feel pretty strongly about it too. So excited to finally get it off the ground.
Absolutely.
Okay, well, so I want to step back here because you've already mentioned a couple of the other projects that you've made since this idea was conceived. I mean, you've got, of course, Electric Nostalgia, which involves robots, and then Shifter, the time travel body horror film, for listeners who might not be familiar with those. And also a number of short films. So maybe you could tell me a little bit about how maybe it differs from the films or short films that you've made in the past. What is the unique perspective here? Jacob, I'll start with you.
Yeah, it's quite a bit different from our features for sure. Both of our the features that I wrote and directed were kind of sci-fi dramas with some horror elements. Shifter leans a little more horror. Hell Hath No Fury is still very dark, but it's very, very funny. And it's a very different tone and a very different style. No sci-fi. There's some gore.
A bit. A touch here and there.
It'll be a very different tone, but it will be similar to some of our short films that we did. In particular, there's one, we did the 48-hour film project a few years ago, and we made a film called Let the Bodies Hit the Floor, which Caleb Masters was one of our PAs on that.
What do you mean?
Sure was.
I got to throw blood around at people. It was the best job ever.
And you did a great job.
Great job.
That house never looked the same.
Oh, yeah, right.
Oh, yeah, it's still messed up.
But so Let the Bodies Hit the Floor was just a very similar in tone to Hell Hath No Fury, very dark comedy, lots of blood, and also very funny. So we kind of, while the stories are very different, I think that's kind of the idea. Is this is kind of a feature length version of that kind of style of movie.
But you're doing it, in less than 48 hours this time.
Yeah, exactly.
We're making this feature in 24 hours.
Yeah.
It'll be a race.
All right, so Zach, this of course is your directorial debut feature film, but you've done short films of your own in the past. Maybe you could talk a little bit about some of the things you learned from your short films that have also played at the Dead Center Film Festival, and then maybe how you applied some of the things you learned from those shorts or you plan to apply those things to this new film.
So I've definitely never learned anything in my life. I started out just as I am and just keep level.
Great.
So it should work out.
Great.
But no, really. Mostly what I've learned from the short films that I've done either directing alongside Jacob or directing myself, is that you can never learn this lesson hard enough. It's that movies are hard. I don't know if you guys have ever figured that out before, but movies are pretty hard. So they just take a lot of work and a lot of effort, not just from you, but like collaborating with everybody, you know, because no movie gets made alone and by one single person. And so that's actually also one of the good things about movies, is because it's just a bunch of different people coming together to make something fun. And all these different minds coming together and collaborating on one single project can really elevate it to something even better than what it was in just script form or whatever, or what you could just do by yourself. And so I'm definitely taking that kind of approach where for this movie in particular, you know, I'm very open to what anybody else can bring to it, not just what my thoughts are, but you know, what Jacob's ideas are for how to shoot it, or, you know, we've got a super great cast that I think are going to bring a lot of really great stuff to the movie and their performances. And I'm just really looking forward to getting all this group together and having some fun.
So am I going to hear stories about how you're like James Cameron and you literally like nail cell phones to the wall? Is that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to do 73 takes of every shot. It's going to be great, you know, because we got to get it perfect, you know?
Yeah.
And we definitely have time for that.
In our 24-hour shoot.
24-hour shoot, yeah.
78 takes of everything.
78 takes of everything. And I'm sure take 72 is going to be vastly different or superior than take 27, right?
Obviously.
Oh, of course, yeah.
All right. So here's the thing. You guys have, before I invited you onto the show, you had not yet hit your $5,000 Indiegogo goal. But I'm pretty sure within 24 hours of me inviting you to do the podcast, you hit your goal, $5,000. And then I was like, okay, cool. Are they going to do a stretch goal? And then voila, there you go. $7,000 stretch goal. I'm like, all right, cool. So we can talk about the stretch goal. Oh, what? You shattered the stretch goal of $7,000 within 24 hours. All right. So you're now, as I mentioned earlier, trucking to $10,000. But I think the question that something, the audience might be interested in learning a little bit about is exactly how, firstly, you know, where's the $5,000 that you'd initially asked for? Where is that going to go? And then what do you do with the extra money that comes in on top of that? How does that contribute back to the production?
The initial $5,000 we were asking for was mostly to help cover things like post-production and to help just kind of cover a few other things for actually shooting the movie itself. But we'd also raised a good amount of the budget we needed privately. And so the $5,000 was mostly just to help us cover our bases and make sure we could get the movie done from start to finish. And so all the money we are getting beyond that, the $7,000 stretch goal, and then now aiming for $10,000, every penny just makes the movie better because we can spread that money around to some other departments that might need a little more help financially. But then most importantly, we really just want to pay our cast and crew better than what we already could. Because we definitely, you know, they're extremely talented, wonderful people who are giving us their time and energy and efforts, and they deserve to be taken care of. And so that's one of our big goals with these stretch goals, is to just help pay them better and treat them the way that they deserve.
Awesome. I think that's great news. So listeners, this really contributing to the Indiegogo for Hell Hath No Fury, this isn't really just contributing to you guys directly or just to the project. The funds here are obviously going to be going to other various artists here in Oklahoma, whether it be actors, people who are working in post. So it really sounds like this is a great way to invest in film here in Oklahoma. Right now, a lot of exciting things happening here in Oklahoma film, and I have heard a lot of people ask the question, how can I get involved? What can I do? And contributing to Hell Hath No Fury is one of many great ways you could do that.
Hell yeah.
Well, gentlemen, with that said, I think that about wraps up the conversation. But for our listeners who are really interested in what you guys are going to do next, where can they keep up with the latest developments with the production of Hell Hath No Fury?
Want to go for it, bro?
Sure. Yeah, probably the best place is if you just follow Planet Thunder Productions on all our various social medias. We're very active on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. So that's where all the by the minute information will be coming from. And then, of course, you can follow me and Zachary on our Twitters and Instagrams. What's my Twitter? My Twitter is a film by Burnsy.
Oh, yeah. You recently changed it.
Yeah. And then my Instagram is at Jacob Layton Burns.
Nice. My Twitter and Instagram are both at Left Eye Burns.
Excellent, gentlemen. Well, listeners, I encourage you to go follow them, follow Plant Thunder Productions, keep up with all the updates, contribute to the Indiegogo. I am a proud contributor, and a thing that I think you guys do a really great job at is communicating all the things you're doing with the film through the Indiegogo. So once you contribute, you can sort of kind of get on in this message thread where, hey, here's this update, here's opportunities to get involved, hey, we're going to be playing at this time, or hey, here's how we can use more help. So again, just a really great way to support film in Oklahoma, and this specific project, Hell Hath No Fury, is by contributing to the Indiegogo. And I believe the tiered rewards start as low as at $5.
Yeah, there's lots of cool perks out there, and
Absolutely.
The lowest is $5, and we go all the way up to $5,000.
So if anybody's got $5,000 laying around,
I might know just the guy. All right, gentlemen. We'll start with you, Jacob, and then go to Zach. Just want to give you guys a chance to close out. Is there anything else you would like to add about Hell Hath No Furies before we wrap up the show today?
It's gonna be good, y'all. Check it out.
ditto.
Well, on that note, listeners, thank you so much for tuning in to today's very special interview on Hell Hath No Fury. And of course, if you're wondering how you can keep up with all of the things we're doing here at the Cinematropolis, you can firstly head on over to thecinematropolis.com, or you can follow us on Twitter at the Cinematrop, or heading over to Facebook at facebook.com/the Cinematropolis, or you can catch me tweeting about all the things film, television, video games at C Masters Talk. That's letter C, Masters Talk. And we are about to go on a bit of a sort of November hiatus. I know we just came off one, but don't worry. When we get through Thanksgiving, we are going to have a smorgasbord of awesome movies to talk about. Keep up with all those at thecinematropolis.com. We'll catch you again next time.